Hello, today we will be showing you how to create a seating chart for your class in PowerSchool. As always, we like to start from the MCS app portal. The first thing we're going to do is access PowerTeacher. Once PowerTeacher loads our classes, we're going to start by clicking the seating chart button located here. Clicking this button will take us into our seating chart frame. From this frame, we have several options. The first step we want to take is to select Seating Chart Design located here. Once we select Seating Chart Design, we will be presented with a list of students in our class. The first step we want to take is to create a template. We'll do this by going to the Edit menu, naming our layout in a manner that will allow us to recognize it as a template. We can add a description if necessary to help recognize it as a template. Once we're done, we want to click Save as New. If presented with an option to save the layout with previous options and objects, click Continue. Now that we have our template, we can get started positioning and creating the seating layout in our classroom. Our first step is to set the number of seats we have in our classroom. To do this, we will navigate up to Rows, located under the Seats menu. Clicking Rows, we will be presented with an option to indicate how many seats we have in our classroom. For this example, I'm going to set my seat total to 35. You can achieve this by adjusting the numbers for rows or chairs per row until the total number of seats matches your classroom. As you do this, a grid will appear on the right side of the screen, showing you a simulation of the amount of seats you've added. Once you've adjusted your seats to the correct number, select Add. Now that we have the correct number of seats in our classroom, we will want to arrange the seats to match our classroom layout. To do this, we want to remove the students from the list by clicking, dragging, and highlighting all of the students present. Select Remove under the Controls menu to remove the students from the class. At this point, it is a good idea to save your progress. Now that we have saved our progress, we can adjust the window to see all of our seats. You can then select your seats individually or in groups and move them in an orientation that matches your classroom. Here, I will drag and select all of my seats and click to move them to the center of my screen. In my classroom, I have pods of 5 seats to keep my students in 7 individual groups of 5. Now I will move the seats to match the orientation of my classroom by clicking each one and dragging it to its respective location to match my classroom. You can also drag and select more than one seat using the Shift button to deselect a seat to select the seats in different groupings. Once I have designed the seats to match the orientation of my classroom, I can add a few objects into my classroom layout to help determine its orientation. In the Objects menu here, I can add a teacher desk by clicking the Teach desk under Objects and then dragging it to its proper orientation in my classroom. Keep in mind you can zoom out or in by using the slider on the right-hand side corner. Once I've positioned my desk, I can add a door. I can add an indication of where my whiteboard is. I can even add text indicators to call out certain areas of my classroom. Once I'm happy with the layout of my classroom, I'll click Save. Now that you have your classroom layout template, you will want to add students to their seating location in each of your classes. The first step in this process is to select the Edit menu again. Within the Edit menu, you want to change your layout name to reflect the class that you are trying to seat. In this case, I will be seating my English class. You can add a description if necessary. Once you've chosen your options, you will want to click Save as New. You will receive an alert saying this will create a new layout with the previous options and objects. Click Continue. You will notice at the top your selection has changed to English. Now that you're in the period you wish to seat, you can choose from several options to seat the students in your class. The first option would be to use the Populate menu, located here. Selecting the Populate menu, you will be presented with several options. These options will allow you to seat your students using several choices, either alphabetically, alternate male-female, or random. You can also choose the order they're seated in, either A to Z or Z to A. You can choose to display their last name or first name, and you can choose where to start the auto-populate from, either the top left or right, or bottom left or right sections of your classroom. Once you have set the options to your desired states, select Add. You will then see that your students have been auto-seated within your classroom based on the options you chose in the Populate menu. If you're unhappy with any of the seating arrangements, you can simply select the white area of the classroom to deselect your student group, and then select each individual student, clicking the X button to remove them from that seat. Once you've done so, you can move to your left pane, select the student individually, and drag them to the specific seat you wish to put them in. Once we've dragged and dropped each individual student into their desired seating location, and we've verified the seating location matches the needs of our classroom, we can click Save. We have now saved this seating chart as the default seating chart for the class indicated in the drop-down menu. Another method for seating your students is to individually drag and drop them into each location. To do this, you would navigate to the left-hand pane where your students are located, click each student, and drag them into their desired seating location. If you're ever unhappy with the seating locations of your students, you can simply select Clear All to reset all students back to the unassigned location. Now that we've seated our students in our classroom, we can move on to creating a seating chart for our next applicable classroom. To set up a seating chart for another class or period, we will navigate back to the PowerTeacher Start page and locate the next class we wish to work with. We will select the seating chart button once again, navigate to the drop-down, select the template option, select Edit, and enter our new information. In this case, we will seat our math class, changing the layout name and the description once again to match our needs. Once we've set those descriptors, we would select Save as New. We will get the same message to create our new layout with the previous options and click Continue. And you will now see we are now in our math class and can proceed with the same steps as before to either auto-populate or manually populate our classroom based on our selected options. You will repeat these steps as many times as necessary to create seating charts for your individual periods or class needs. Thank you for watching this video on how to create a seating chart using PowerTeacher.